Hello and welcome back again. I'm just sort of picking up where I left off. So last part of the journey here in South Korea is to travel to a place called Tongyong, and that's where we've got another one of these sites. It's not too far away. Feels like it's far away, but yeah, anyway, we went down there to do some more server replacements. So we got 2 more HP servers to fit. So I thought I'd, share some of the journey with you guys down there and what I was doing. And given this is more technology related, I figured, well, for once I'll actually record some of it and share it in the video. Alrighty, so we've got our 2 hosts there, and now we've got our 10 gig network card that needs to go on each one of the hosts. This is just to provide a bit of a faster uplink to the switches. I bond them together with an ESXi as well. Got all our hard drives here for storage. Each server or host has the same, storage capacity, and we're not running anything real fancy here. But yep, dual power supplies per server because we're also doing dual CPU sockets. You can see that's the model of the Xeon processor we're using here today, as well as some memory because you have to sort of pair and match memory for CPUs and things, if you want to expand on it. And these are the 2 Huawei old hosts that we're replacing today, and they've been pretty good, must say, very reliable. And here's all the bits and pieces that we need to put into the metal box. So I just sort of laid them all out there so you can see roughly what we're putting in there. It's nothing too extravagant, just some memory and expansion cards, extra CPU of course, that big dog right there. And the chassis also came fitted with all the fans needed as well, so yeah. I was grounding myself on a computer that's down on the floor there, you couldn't see it, but it's very easy. They made them super easy nowadays. You just sort of plump them on, put some screws in, and tighten them up per the numbering system they've got on the side there really. So I started with number 1, 2, 3 and 4. Also should point out the screws only go down so far as well, so unless you're really trying you can't over torque the screws, but nevertheless, so finished that up. And then now for some RAM. Depending on your CPU configuration and things like that, you need to sort of pair them up and number them. So if you've got 2 CPUs, that's how you lay them out. The numbering is on the slots themselves. You'll see these little numbers in there, so it's really just a matter of putting them in where they're supposed to go. And the easiest job of course is just putting the power supply in, so that's just remove the flap, slap it in, up the clacker, and then that's it for the power supply situation. I like having the redundant power supply because you can split up the UPS. And then there's the 10 gig networking card. I left a good gap in there for airflow. And another little thing I do is just push all the fans down, even though they come from the factory like that, just to make sure that they're all seated. And very important, do not forget to put the ducting back on. You need that for the airflow over the CPU heatsinks. Storage, the flap opens up, the little catch, you slide it in and then you use the catch to sort of press and secure it down. And again at the end just pushing everything in to make sure nothing's loose as. And finally the lid. Pretty self-explanatory there. Got to line it all up and then clip it in, and then you're away to go, blah blah blah, whatever I'm talking about. And then what I figured I'd do is show you guys the next host. I just sort of breezed through it. Sorry about the camera angle, I don't have a tripod or anything fancy to hold my phone, so whiteboard it is, but Same procedure, just sort of going through it, the whole thing, so you can see everything that I'm doing roughly in a time lapse. Alrighty, now that's all done. I couldn't film this obviously because I needed both of my hands to fit these into the rack, but I put the rail kits on, put it in the rack. It's really simple. Some of these designs are really refined now, so it's so much easier just to get them in there. Of course, my thumb in the way. And then just, securing the hosts in using the screws provided inside of the front bezel there to the rack. Makes it real easy just to stop it sliding in and out. Just have to remember, if you want to take it out, slide it out, you have to undo the screws. But yeah, after that was all done, I did some configuration and fired them up for the first time. Thankfully, everything seemed to work good as gold. So there's 2 SSDs per host for the boot drive, and then the rest are just spinning Rust. But yeah, all went really well. Got it into vCenter. V'ing backups, everything, migrated all the virtual machines over, and I'm away laughing. So after all that work was done, we took a bit of time to go off to the top of the hills around Tongyong. There's a cable car that goes up the top here so you can see the views. So we did all the touristy stuff on the weekend, really, in the last few days before we had to go back to Busan, but here's some of the views. And later on that night, we went to a light show, which you'll see some footage of shortly, but yeah, good views all around, and highly recommend it.
나 많이 온 거야 아니야? 존나 많아?
혹시 이 산에 내려오는 전설에 대해 알고 있나요? 어둑해진 하늘 위로 커다란 달이 떠오르고 신비한 숲이 열리고 산꼭대기에서 지워진 벽화들이 살아 움직이는 축제가 벌어진답니다.
And back in Busan, of course, back at work at the main site that we're coming over to do, you can see like a lot of the progress has been done already with tiling of the outdoor, footpaths and things like that. Trees are going in, grass is going in, and some of the big jobs which I was really keen to see finish up were these indoor sort of like sales areas where there's a POS unit and like photo scanning machines and things like that, as well as their printers. So you'll see these like little DMP printers, they print the photos out for the customer. So seeing stuff like that was really awesome, wrapped up. Server rack came together all right as well. We had a bit of an issue with cable lengths, but sort of got it all looking good. And yeah, some sort of last shots before we left. This is sort of like a few days before we're set to fly out of Busan, but yeah, the theme park next door, which isn't related to what we're doing, or our company, but yeah, you can see that sort of coming along as well. And yeah, the last sort of touristy things that we managed to do while we're in Busan was like the Sky View Tower, which you can see here. It's like 100 stories tall. And yeah, you go up to the top at night or the day and you can see the views of the city. Sorry about the shaky camera there. I don't have that stabilization. But yeah, we hopped on a train on the last day in Busan. We headed out to the airport. Trains are really easy to get around on here because they just cut through all the traffic. A brisk 11-hour flight home, and I am now in my managed isolation hotel where we have to stay for 14 days because of the whole COVID thing around the world. But yeah, so far so good. But yeah, it was a great trip, got heaps done, and yeah, things will be returning back to normal for me in terms of content for the channel and things like that. So stay tuned for upcoming projects because I've got a lot of them. Got projects coming out of my ears. But yeah, I'll be here for another week, and yeah, thanks for watching and stay safe.